I'm 75 years old, and I'm watching something I swore I'd never see again. I know this feeling. I felt it in 1974 when I was 24. The air changes before a storm hits. The economy looks exactly like 1974. I lived through the worst economic period since the Depression. 45% crash, 11% inflation, 18% mortgages, gas lines, 9 years of pain. If you're under 50, those are just numbers. To me, they're scars. People who panicked in 1974 lost everything. People who prepared survived and got wealthy. I survived. Barely. But I learned what to watch for. And every warning sign is flashing red right now. You have maybe 6 months to prepare. Maybe less. Let me take you back. 1973. I'm 23 years old. Just married. First real job. Started investing. Economy booming. Stock market hitting all-time highs. I thought I was smart. Thought I had it figured out. I had no idea what was coming. October 1973. Oil embargo hits. Within 12 months, the stock market crashed 45%. My portfolio, $8,000, became $4,400. I watched half my money disappear. Half? Gone. I was 24 years old, terrified. But that wasn't even the worst part. Inflation hit 11%. Everything got expensive overnight. I sat in gas lines for 2 hours just to fill my tank. Odd even days based on your license plate. Oil prices went from $3 a barrel to $12. Quadrupled. Then 1981. The Federal Reserve trying to break inflation. Mortgage rates hit 18%. 18. I bought my first house in 1982 at 16.5%. $1,100 monthly payment on a $60,000 house. I was making $35,000 a year. Nobody could borrow. Economy just froze. And the stock market went nowhere. 1973 to 1982. 9 years. A lost decade. You bought stocks in 1973, you were still underwater in 1982. 9 years of watching, waiting, bleeding. Some people couldn't take it. I watched friends lose their jobs. Some lost their houses. My parents, who did everything right, watched their retirement dreams die. People swore they'd never touch stocks again. Those people, they missed the biggest bull run in history. 1982 to 2000. Now I'm 75, and I'm watching the same movie play out again. Different actors, same script, same ending coming. We had an inflation spike. Fed raised interest rates. Everyone declared victory. Inflation's under control, they said. Crisis averted. That's exactly what happened in 1974. Inflation came down. Everyone celebrated. Then, 1979 hits. It came roaring back, worse than before. They declared victory too early. Then, they had to break the entire economy to actually fix it. But that's not even the part that scares me most. In the 1970s, we had what they called guns and butter. Vietnam War spending, plus Great Society programs. Government spending exploded. Deficit soared. Sound familiar? Today we're running $2 trillion deficits every single year. 2 trillion. With a T. That's 1970s policy on steroids. And then there's the part nobody wants to talk about. 1973 was the oil embargo, geopolitical crisis, supply shock. Today, energy markets unstable. Geopolitical tension everywhere. Supply chains fragile. One crisis away from disruption. Different specific trigger. Same structural weakness. But here's where it gets really familiar. In 1973, the stock market was at all-time highs. Valuations stretched to extremes. P/E ratios through the roof. Everyone said it was a new era, different this time. New paradigms. New investing rules. Then it crashed 45%. Today, all-time highs, extreme valuations. And everyone says AI changes everything. Maybe it does. But I've heard this time is different before. 1973, 2000, 2007. It's never different. And the final piece that connects it all, consumer debt at record levels, credit cards at 20% interest rates, 20%, student loans, auto loans, mortgages, everyone leveraged to the absolute maximum, just like the early 1980s. Right before the default wave, we're one recession away from mass defaults. Now, each one of these alone, maybe it's coincidence, but all five together, that's not coincidence, that's a pattern. And I recognize this pattern, I lived it, I survived it, and I'm seeing it play out again. If I'm right, and I think I am, here's what's coming. A market correction of 30 to 50%. Not a crash, a correction back to reality. Inflation that stays high or comes back worse. A recession. Job losses. Real pain. Timeline? 3 to 5 years. Not months. Years. And this is critical and eventually recovery. It always comes. So here's what you need to do. Right now. In 1974, people sold at the bottom, locked in 45% losses. Then they watched from the sidelines as the market recovered. They missed everything. The market will drop, maybe 40%. You'll watch your account shrink. You'll be tempted to sell. To stop the pain. Don't. If you're under 50, you have decades. Ride it out. I held through 9 years of hell. By 2000, my $8,000 was worth $180,000. Panic selling is the number one wealth destroyer. Don't do it. In the early 1980s, people with no savings lost everything the moment they lost their jobs. No cushion. No options. Build 12 to 18 months of expenses. In cash, boring savings accounts. 2 reasons. First, if you lose your job, you survive. Second, when the crash comes and everyone's panicking, you can buy. Cash is king in chaos. In 1980, people with variable rate mortgages watched their payments double overnight. Some tripled. They lost their homes. Couldn't refinance because rates were too high. Couldn't sell because nobody could afford to buy. Pay off your credit cards. Now. 20% interest will destroy you in a recession. Lock in any variable rates or pay them off completely. Don't be leveraged when the storm hits. Debt is an anchor in a flood. In every recession, companies cut the people they can live without. Last hired. Least essential. Gone. Make yourself valuable. Indispensable. Document your wins. Build new skills. Network. Ask for that raise now, before the hiring freezes. Be the person they can't afford to lose. Here's what most people don't understand. Crashes create generational wealth opportunities. 1974, you could buy great companies for nothing. 1982, houses were cheap despite high rates. 2008, same pattern. If you have cash, when everyone else is panicking and selling, you buy assets for pennies on the dollar. That's how real wealth is built. Not in the boom, in the crash, but only if you're prepared. In 1974, speculative growth stocks crashed 70%. Some never came back. Ever. Don't sell everything. But rebalance to quality, large cap, dividend payers, companies with pricing power. Cut the speculation, meme stocks, crypto gambling, high flyers with no earnings, boring wins when storms come. This is the hardest part, the part nobody talks about. Watching your portfolio drop 40% is torture. Watching it stay down for years, that's hell. But if you panic, if you sell, you lose everything. I watched from 1973 to 1982. 9 years of mostly pain. Wanted to quit every single day, but I held. And from 1982 to 2000, I got wealthy. Survival is the game, not optimization. Survival. Here's what you need to understand. What young people can't know yet because they haven't lived long enough. It always recovers. Every crash in history, every single one, followed by recovery. Every time. 1974. I'm 24 years old. My $8,000 is now $4,400. I'm broke, terrified. No idea what I'm doing. 1982. 8 years later. I'm 32 years old. That money is barely $9,500, essentially flat for almost a decade. I wanted to quit so many times, thought I was an idiot for holding. Watched people who sold in 74 buy houses, cars, live their lives. I'm sitting there with paper losses feeling like a fool. Then 1982 hits. The market turns. Takes off. By 1990, that $8,000 is worth $45,000. By 2000, $180,000. From $8,000 to $180,000. The people who sold in 1974, they locked in $4,400. And that's it. They never got back in. The people who got rich didn't avoid the crash. Nobody avoids it. The people who got rich survived it, stayed in, held on, bought more when others were selling. That's the pattern, every single time. 2008, same thing, panic sold at the bottom, destroyed, held through the pain, wealthy by 2015. The pattern doesn't change. I'm not trying to scare you into selling. I'm trying to prepare you for holding. Because if you know it's coming, if you're mentally ready, if you have cash and low debt, you won't panic. You'll survive. Maybe even thrive. But caught off guard, over-leveraged, no savings, all in on speculation, it'll break you. I'm 75 years old. I've survived this twice. 1974 and 2008. Both times I held. Both times I came out ahead. You can too, but only if you prepare. The economy looks like 1974. I see the patterns, all of them. I recognize them. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's different this time, but I don't think so. And I'd rather be prepared for nothing than caught off guard by everything. You have time, not much, but some 6 months, maybe less. Maybe you have a year. I don't know exactly when it hits. Nobody does. But the warning signs are flashing red. Build your cash. Cut your debt. Stay invested but rebalance to quality. Prepare mentally for what's coming. Do it now, not next month. Now. And when it hits, and I think it will, hold on. Survive. Don't panic. Don't sell. Watch your account drop and do nothing. I know how hard that is. I've done it twice. But the recovery will come. It always does. Always. But only those who survive the crash get to see the recovery. And only those who prepare can survive without breaking. I'm 75 years old. I probably won't live to see the recovery after this one, but you will, if you prepare. The storm is coming. I can feel it in my bones, because I felt it before. Get ready. Right now, today. Not tomorrow, not next week. Today. Your window's closing. If you remember 1974, comment below. Tell people what it was like. If you're young and this scares you, good. Fear keeps you careful. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe, while I still can. The economy looks like 1974. Prepare for the worst. Hope for the best. Time's running out.